More and more nowadays, we're hearing about cryptocurrencies. They're all over the news, they're all over YouTube, and they're all over the threads. But the one I get asked about most often is Bitcoin. I get asked, what is it? How does it work? Is it safe? Is it reliable? Well, in today's video, we'll be discussing all the following topics, so let's get straight to it.
I fight to live, I fight to strive. One day I'll have what I want in life.
Make sure to go over to the XO channel, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the future videos. Before I continue, I must say that nothing in this video is financial advice. Do not take it as such. I'm just some guy on the internet saying his opinion about certain topics. So yeah, take that how you will. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin was first introduced in January of 2009. It was designed to be a cryptocurrency which is decentralized. This means it is independent from banks, it has no involvement, and it cannot be swayed by them. It works kind of like an email, you just send it straight to the recipient, there's no sort of middleman. That's basically what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin was created by, well, no one really knows, that's the problem. NANI?! The handle Satoshi Nakamoto was used, however there's no one registered by this name. It is unclear whether this name represents a group, like Illuminati represents, or Anonymous, or it's an individual. It leans more towards a group considering how large of a project Bitcoin was. The last communication by this name was made on April 2011. This was 2 years after the Bitcoin network was released. There's theories of who this anonymous person or group could be, but there's no solid evidence to support those statements as of yet. Bitcoin has a fixed supply that you can access. This is excellent as it will combat inflation. You can't just go ahead and print more. Yes, Fed, I'm looking at you.
You feel that? Yeah, shit. Oh!
There will only be a supply of 21 million bitcoins. You will not be able to mine any more. That's all that will exist. We'll talk about mining a bit more later. Bitcoin is not a physical thing, you can't hold it. Hence the name digital currency. It is stored on a thing called a public ledger. This public ledger is transparent, anyone can see into it and see where transactions goes. This is excellent for tracking money. Bitcoin is very easy to track where it goes, it's just hard to put an identity to that transaction as it doesn't require anything like that. A Bitcoin can be divided to 8 decimal places. However, if the need arises and all the miners agree to alter the blockchain, then they could actually increase this division, meaning you can get smaller currencies from it. How does Bitcoin work? Bitcoins are held on a private wallet. This is basically a unique identifying number given to you, kind of like your account number on your card. This is private and should only be known by you. Do not give it out to anyone or even write it down anywhere, because if you lose this, you're fucked. Honestly, you're fucked. Like I said, it acts like your unique identifier code, kind of like an email, if you will. That'll be your email, and then you'll use that to send money to places and whatnot. When you want to send money to some place, your transaction will then be given another unique identifier code. This one, however, will be public, as all transactions are added to the public ledger where everyone can see, so they need this code to be on there. From here, all transactions are added and processed by what's known as the blockchain. Now we'll talk more about the blockchain and blocks a bit later. Basically, the blockchain is powered by computing power. You'll have things called miners, we'll talk about later. They are rewarded in crypto for giving the processing power to keep the blockchain running. Blockchain will process your transactions and send the money to where you want it to go. Now, like I said, the computing power is provided by things called miners.
I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy, diggy hole.
No, not them miners. These miners are specially built PCs that are designed to handle the blockchain, and they run on a certain program. You can have different types of miners and for different cryptos. We won't get into the bulk of that, but basically they are literally just rewarded for their computing power. So if you've got a PC that's capable of mining and processing transactions and you run this program, you'll get rewarded based on how much that computer does, basically. And that's the simplest, it's just how it works. These miners can sometimes be called nodes, like nodes on a network. It just depends on who you talk to. Once your transaction is complete, like I said, they'll be added to that public ledger where everyone can see. Now, a blockchain is just pretty much what it says. It's just blocks connected together. Now, a block is basically a bunch of transactions that are held within that. So each block will have a certain size, so you can't just mash all transactions into one block. That's why you need other blocks. The great thing about this blockchain, as new blocks are added to that blockchain, the existing blocks are then sort of re-verified for security as well. So the amount of security the blockchain has is ridiculous. It will keep getting checked, keep getting updated as new transactions go by. That's what makes it so safe as well. Another great thing about the blockchain is that because all the miners can see the same things, they can see what's happening to the blockchain. Every miner has the same priority level. They can see what's in the blocks, they can process what's there. Because of this, everything is transparent, so no one can come in and just change what they like. Every miner will be able to see this, and it will not be allowed. To change the blockchain, all the miners, or the majority of the miners, have to agree on that change, and for that to happen would take a hell of a lot. You'd have to command most of the processing power on the blockchain. So basically, no one can cheat the system. If you want to learn more about this, check out Investopia. The link will be in the description. They have a topic on this that I found quite fascinating. Like I said, there is only a certain amount of Bitcoin that will ever be mined. But how do these Bitcoins get into circulation? Well, the supply of Bitcoin is actually fed into the system at a given rate. So at the start of the crypto life, they were getting pumped in there viciously. However, as time goes on, there is a degrading return on this. They will not put as many in now. It'll take quite a few years till all the Bitcoin are now into the system. The supply to us is given at a fixed rate, however it's just getting slower and slower throughout the years. Investopia states that as of June 2021, there is 18 million Bitcoins in circulation. This leaves 3 million Bitcoins left to be mined. Now we'll discuss, is Bitcoin reliable and safe? To answer this question, you must first ask yourself what money is. Throughout human history, we have used many different resources to determine a value. We've used silver, we've used gold, recently cash, money in banks, and now we're moving over to cryptos. For something to be classed as money, it must have three things. It must have value, it must have reliability, and it must have trust. So we'll discuss each topic. So starting off with the first one, value. Now this is perfect for Bitcoin. As Bitcoin has a fixed supply, this encourages the rarity of it. There will be no more, you can't just print it like the Fed does. This rarity then adds the value to that product. That's where Bitcoin succeeds in this way. The other thing you need is trust. Now this is tricky for Bitcoin, as Bitcoin's fluctuations in price make it unstable. You can't walk into any store and use it as a currency, so it's not got that trust and reliability in there with that. Also, the fear of the uncertainty with the crypto space make it a coin that may not be adopted depending on how regulations go and depending on how it adapts through the years. Some stores do accept it currently, things like Microsoft has stepped it, Tesla accepts certain things with crypto. I don't think Bitcoin's one of them, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, there is some adaptation so far, but not enough to make it a reliable source. Bitcoin's lack of regulations is the best and worst trait of Bitcoin. On one side it's great because no one owns Bitcoin, no one can control it, no one can manipulate it single-handedly, so it's free from the government's greed and whatnot. However, on the flip side of this, there's no regulations in place, meaning there's no protection. So people often do like protection when it comes to their money, knowing that it's backed by government, that they can get sort of refunds if fraud happens or something. With Bitcoin, there's none of this. If your money's gone, it's gone. There's nothing you're going to do to get it back. So the legal side of things for Bitcoin will be the most difficult thing it faces. Things, or places like the USA, which commands most of their power from the US dollar, which is perceived as the currency of the world basically. Everything is priced around that, and that is the commanding currency. So if you have a thing like Bitcoin coming in which doesn't belong to anyone, and it doesn't conform to anyone's rules.
You're not my dad! You also hear something! Ugly ass fucking noodle!
The USA would not want to welcome something that undermines their power. However, if they refuse it, a struggling country will happily take this extra surplus of money, which places are actually accepting as currency, which then the USA would then be biting themselves in the foot. So it's a bit of a tricky one to navigate. So they will heavily push for regulations that are in their favour, I feel. I'm not sure how this would go. They would have to be very careful around this topic, as the backlash from the community would be substantial. So many investors are in crypto and with a lot of money, so if they make the wrong move, and there's some big people in there, like people like Elon are in there, the owner of Facebook, all these people are in crypto and have plans to adopt crypto. So they've really got to be careful of how they navigate this one. Some other negative news surrounding Bitcoin recently is China banned all mining to do with cryptos. At the time, China was one of the leading miners, so it's a bit of a strange move they did on this one. I did have a video discussing this topic. I think I titled it "The End of Stocks and Crypto." Quite an entertaining video if I say so myself. Go check that out. Links will be in on card screen somewhere. And then the other thing is with the environment concern. Elon does not want to sort of partake in this effort if the crypto isn't done, if the mining isn't done sustainably even. So that's another thing that Bitcoin will have to move around and find its way through. But in my opinion, I think the more this crypto is adopted and the wider spread it's used, the better. The regulations, for me, I think it's depend how it's done. I think it is needed to make it a widespread. Like anything needs some sort of rules and regulation behind it. So I think that might be needed for crypto to do as well as it could do. I just fear how they might implement it. Greed is the evil of all people, and it seems to always win in these situations, so we'll have to see. Right now there's not anything, like I said, to change the blockchain fundamentally. It can't really be done, so you'd have to enforce just laws and regulations that people might just break anyway, so it's a bit of a weird one to navigate around. With regards to safety, someone would need to control 51% of the mining power to be able to manipulate the blockchain, and then the rest of the miners would then just create another blockchain, so the attack would be pointless basically.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
The amount of miners or nodes are growing day by day, so it makes it harder for these attacks to happen, and no one has successfully done it as of yet. So okay, so how do you buy crypto if that's what you want to do? Well, you'll have to get it from an exchange, so you can use platforms like Coinbase or Gemini. Gemini is the platform I use. The link will be in the description. You can use that. That'll probably get you some free crypto when you put in so much, but it gives you a little bit of a boost. Now with Gemini, that's where you'll buy it on. For me personally, I store my crypto on a platform called Blockfi. The link will also be in the description. I do this because it then allows me to earn additional interest on that. I think it's like 4% interest, so it's pretty good considering the return on the S&P 500 is 10. So for something that you've bought anyway, that'll go up mad, and that extra 4% is just so nice to have. You can also then store, well, it's not really storing, this thing called a nano ledger. It's like a little USB device you plug in your computer. It doesn't store the crypto on there, it sort of just separates it onto a little block on the blockchain. Whereas the money that you buy on Gemini or store on Blockfi, it'll be stored on their platforms. So if the website was to be hacked, like this company would have been hacked, then that could lose your crypto whereas just the nano ledger is safer. So it just works like that basically. So if you got like a lot of money, I would probably recommend putting it on the ledger or keeping it in separate accounts like bit in Coinbase, bit in Gemini maybe. Just try and be safe, because like I said, if the money's gone, there's nothing you're really going to do about it. There's no protection. Some of these websites like Gemini, Coinbase, they do have, I think there is a payback limit. If something was to happen to your money on their thing, they would then reimburse you a certain amount. So there's a little bit coming into play now, which is good, but I wouldn't rely on it too much. Alright, so that's going to do it on this video for Bitcoin. Hope you got some value out of it. I try to cover all the topics that I thought people want to know about. Everything in crypto is quite in depth when you get down the rabbit hole, talking about coding, blockchain, blah blah blah. So I try to keep it as simple for most people. I hope I did that. If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate if you leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, share the video, whatever. And then check out all the links in the description. Like I said, there's a Gemini and Blockfi link down there for your crypto needs. There's a Trading 212 link down there if you're into stocks. And then check out all my other channels. Got Exo Gaming, where I just sort of chill, talk about life, blah blah blah. Exo Diving for the extreme sports stuff. And I'll catch you in a bit. Peace out.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.